This is Beaverton, Oregon. Since the 1970s, these woods have served as the global headquarters for Nike. But while the 400-acre campus remains quiet, the business itself is in a funk, losing market share in the industry it helped pioneer, struggling to keep its business on track. If you walk the grounds, you'll find jogging trails, research labs, and soccer pitches, but you won't find a single shoe factory. In fact, Nike doesn't own a shoe factory anywhere on the planet. For a company that generates 67% of its revenue from footwear, their actual operation is much more abstract. Their SEC filings confirm this. The paperwork lists the Nike and swoosh design trademarks as the company's most valuable assets. Legally, they aren't a shoemaker, but a firm that provides design, development, and worldwide marketing for athletic products. This focus on design over manufacturing exists because shoes are tools for social signaling. Research from the University of Kansas shows that people can guess a stranger's age, income, and political leanings with high accuracy just by looking at their footwear. We use shoes to frame how the world thinks of us. Because shoes serve as a medium for identity, Nike functions as a tastemaker. Their dominance was built on the ability to wrap a piece of foam and rubber in a compelling narrative. Their current decline suggests that the world's premier storyteller has simply lost the plot. In the early 1970s, Nike was a small, ambitious operation run by Phil Knight and his track coach, Bill Bowerman. They began by importing sleek Japanese running shoes, acting as a disruptor looking to carve out a foothold in the nascent American jogging boom. They found the face of that movement in Steve Prefontaine. He was a working-class kid from an Oregon logging town who was cocky, brash, and incredibly talented. He didn't just win races. He became a cultural character who wore Nike while breaking American records on national television. This created the Nike playbook. Find a mold breaker, sign them, and build innovative technology around their specific needs. To support runners like Prefontaine, Bowerman used a waffle iron to create a unique, lightweight tread, while the Nike Cortez added midsole cushioning that changed the feel of the sport. By 1980, Nike controlled 50% of the running shoe market. As running became more comfortable, it moved from the track to everyday life. Athletic trainers evolved into a casual fashion staple, and Nike was at the center of the transition. They scaled this model in the 80s by betting on a young Michael Jordan. NBA rules required shoes to be 51% white, so Nike designed a flashy, colorful sneaker that intentionally broke the rules. They paid a $5,000 fine every time Jordan took the court, turning the banned shoe into a counterculture icon that sold $126 million in its first year. The empire was built on this singular narrative strategy. By backing athletes like Tiger Woods and Serena Williams, Nike framed itself as the bold, anti-establishment champion for people who wanted to win. But when a disruptor succeeds to the point of becoming the industry leader, it often loses the drive that made it successful. Over the last 2 decades, Nike's identity began to shift from an agile underdog to a defensive institution. In the 2000s, leadership moved away from gut-feeling innovation toward data-driven sales and PR defense. High-profile scandals involving their top athletes and investigations into marathon coach Alberto Salazar forced the company to focus on reputation management rather than designing the future. While Nike was distracted, the market moved toward Gorpcore, a trend where rugged, off-road trail runners became the new urban fashion. Brands like Hoka and On Running captured this movement with maximal cushioning and high-tech designs, catching Nike completely off guard. The results are stark in specialty running shops, where educated staff sell to serious runners. In a category they once dominated, Nike's share has fallen to less than 5%. They have been out-innovated in comfort by Hoka and out-designed by the Swiss brand On. The irony is that Nike helped invent the trail shoe category in the 80s with its all-conditions gear line. They have the technology and the head start, but they allowed the branch to wither on the vine due to a lack of institutional vision. By relying on retro re-releases of old Jordans, instead of pushing new boundaries, Nike became the exact kind of out-of-touch corporate giant it was founded to destroy. In 2024, Nike stock dropped 20%. By 2025, an 11.5% revenue drop marked their worst modern decline. This collapse, driven by a pivot to digital sales, soured wholesale relationships, and ceded shelf space to younger competitors. To fix this, Nike has turned to Elliott Hill, a former intern who spent 32 years at the company. His immediate mandate is to repair those fractured partnerships and return the brand to its creative roots. Part of that strategy is the 2026 relaunch of the All Conditions gear line. It is a highly visible attempt to reclaim the outdoor market they helped create, but lacked the vision to see through. However, regaining brand authenticity is significantly harder than maintaining it. Nike is no longer the scrappy winner. It is a bloated institution trying to convince a skeptical public that it still has its edge. To survive, Nike has to abandon its protective corporate shell and return to being a fearless storyteller. They found their success by running toward the unknown. Their future depends on finding that fight again.